In the early 11th century, England was a land of power struggles and competing claims to the throne. Three claimants sought control: Harald Godwinson, Tostig Godwinson, and Harald Hardrada of Norway. Tostig, the exiled brother of Harald, joined forces with Hardrada in a bid to take the English crown. In September 1066, a fleet of Viking longships sailed up the Humber River, making landfall near Fulford. Harald Hardrada and Tostig Godwinson led a formidable Norse army. They crossed the sea and made their base east of York at Rickle. On the 20th of September 1066, the Vikings advanced towards York. The largely inexperienced Saxon army led by Morcar, York, and Edwin at Tadcaster moved to block the invaders. The British strategically deployed their forces. To safeguard both flanks, the River Ouse protected their right flank, while Fordland, a marshy region, shielded their left. The marshy terrain proved challenging for both sides, setting the stage for a fierce and chaotic battle. Harald's forces advanced from three southern routes. Although Harald organized his army to confront the Anglo-Saxons, he anticipated that it would take several hours for all his troops to assemble. To account for this, he positioned his less experienced troops to the right and stationed his most skilled warriors along the river bank. The English initiated the attack first, moving forward against the Norwegian army before it could complete its deployment. Morcar's forces drove Harald's troops back into the marshlands, gaining ground against the vulnerable section of the Norwegian line. However, this initial success proved insufficient for victory to the English army, as the Norwegians brought their better troops to bear upon them, still fresh against the weakened Anglo-Saxons. Then Harald's mate countermove. He brought more of his troops from the right flank to attack the centre, and sent more men to the river. The invaders were outnumbered, but they kept pushing and shoving the defenders back. The battle raged on 4 hours, with neither side gaining a decisive advantage. The Anglo-Saxons fought valiantly, but the disciplined Norse warriors, led by the skilled Harald Hardrada, proved to be formidable opponents. As the day wore on, a critical moment unfolded. The Viking forces managed to exploit a gap in the Anglo-Saxon defences, creating a breach that turned the tide of the battle. The Anglo-Saxons were forced to give ground. Edwin's soldiers, who were defending the bank, now were cut off from the rest of the army by the marsh, so they headed back to the city to make a final stand. Within another hour, the men on the beck were forced off by the Norwegians. Other invading Norwegians, who were still arriving, found a way to get around the thick fighting and opened a third front against the Anglo-Saxons. Outnumbered and outmaneuvered, the defenders were defeated. Edwin and Morcar, however, managed to survive the fight. The Battle of Fulford Gate concluded with a decisive victory for the Vikings. York surrendered to the Norwegians under the promise that the victors would not force entry to their city, perhaps because Tostig would not want his capital looted. It was arranged that the various hostages should be brought in, and the Norwegian army retired to Stamford Bridge, 7 miles east of York, to await their arrival. The Battle of Fulford Gate may not be as famous as its successor, the Battle of Hastings, but its impact cannot be understated. The victory for the Vikings altered the political landscape, setting the stage for the fateful clash between Harald Godwinson and William the Conqueror just days later. If you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for more content on the epic battles that shaped our world.